This is the final video about the grid, and we have one small thing left, and that is the grid outer columns and the grid outer rows. And you use that when you would like to set the size for the columns or the rows when the grid needs to create more columns or rows. And columns, well, that will be if you explicitly place a element in a cell that is kind of not in the columns you have specified. And the rows is, well, when you need to create a new row, well, what should be the size of that one? And you can add more than one value to these, and it will use kind of first the first one, and then the second one, and then the third one, and then if you don't have any more, it will start over when it needs a new column or new row. So let's try this one out. So let's go back to the first pen we created and then try to move the last item to start on grid line number 6, and then add a grid outer columns and set the specified size. So let's try this one and let's go here. Back here I have, this is the first one we created, the one with just 4 articles. And now if I explicitly would like to place this one, first of all, how can I target that one? Well, we can use this with an nth child, of course. Article, nth child, and let's say it is number 4. And now we said that it should start on grid column start, and it should start on column 6. And as we only have 2 columns up here, it needs to create more columns, because we have grid line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then comes 6. But as you can see, the new columns, as they don't contain anything, well, then they will be 0 in width. But now if I go up here and add a grid auto columns and then say that they should be, I don't know, 60 pixels, for example, when it creates new columns, they should all be at least 60 pixels. So now that column gets 60 pixels, and here we have 2 columns between, so that is 120 pixels, and then we have the last column that is also 60 pixels. And what I can do is that I can do like this. I can say that the first should be 100 pixels, and now you probably can guess at least that now we have this one will get 100 pixels, then we have 60 pixels, 100 pixels, and 60 pixels. So, and I can, so it will alternate between these two when it creates new columns. And you can do the same with rows. So let's remove this one and instead say that we should have rows like this. And now you see that as we have, if I just do like this, like that, and then we maybe should do like this, and then set the new rows to 200 pixels. Now you can see that the first row, as I have specified in the grid template rows, is 100 pixels, and then the second row will be 200 pixels. And if it needs more than this, well, now I always have 2 columns, but if I had something that was kind of auto-filled, well, then it will kind of create new rows with the size that I add here. So I can say 100 pixels. Now I never get a third row in this case, but if we temporarily remove this one also, now you see that I alternate between the first one is 100 pixels, then I have 200 pixels, and then I have 100 pixels, and then it goes back to 200 pixels again. So with that, we have also the grid template rows and the grid outer rows and the grid outer columns. So now we have covered most of the grid. We haven't yet covered the justify content and the justify items and so forth, but they behave in a similar way to the flexbox. So therefore I will not cover them in this video, and you can of course try them out for yourself. So good luck with the grid.